last month, a federal judge in the state of Kansas had determined that full automatic rifles were protected under the Second Amendment. Well, just in the end of September in Hawaii, in the case United States versus Chan, Chan was, the police went over to do a safety check on him, and they found a fully automatic rifle that was short-barreled in his possession, and they arrested him. And he claimed that that was protected under his Second Amendment rights, and that case just came through, and that's the United States versus Chan. But the problem with this case is that the federal judge completely circumvented what the Supreme Court said in the Bruin case, and ultimately said that both short-barreled rifles and automatic rifles are not protected under your Second Amendment rights. So what's all this mean? Well, ultimately what they said is in the Bruin case, the New York Rifle and Pistol Club versus Bruin, that case ultimately said that we as citizens have the right to carry outside of our home, because in the state of New York at the time, you had the right to own a gun, but only in your home. You weren't allowed to leave your house with it unless you were going to the range, and then you couldn't stop anywhere, not even the gas station. And the Supreme Court declared that, no, you do have the right to leave your house with a firearm. However, what this particular judge said in the United States versus Chan is that in the United States versus Henry case, they banned or outlawed, under that Supreme Court case, they outlawed certain weapons, but short barrel rifles nor fully automatic weapons were under that case. The only exception really was, and the argument was, is that that does not affect the historical context of what's taking place today. Because even if you go all the way back to the Revolutionary War, when all we had was muskets, that was still a war rifle. So really it's the historical context combined with Bruin that the Kansas judge ultimately said, well, yes, we do have the right to these guns under the Second Amendment. Whereas in Hawaii, the federal judge said, no, we don't. So ultimately what we're looking at is we're looking at two different firearms here. We're looking at a short barrel rifle and a fully automatic rifle. We have two contradicting federal cases, both quoting Supreme Court cases, two different Supreme Court cases at that matter. One quoting New York Rifle and Pistol Club versus Bruin, saying we do have the right to these. The other quoting United States versus Henry, saying that we don't have the right to these. Now, ultimately, especially that Kansas case, because it got kicked back, that guy did have the right to own those firearms. So you know that the United States is going to appeal that to the Supreme Court. Whether Chan will appeal his to the Supreme Court or not, I do not know. But now that you have these two conflicting cases, I believe that this is ultimately going to make it to the Supreme Court. Obviously not this session, but it'll be next year. One of these cases, if not both of them combined, are going to make it to the Supreme Court. I believe, and ultimately it's good news. I think that in the end, these things need to be sorted out. You can't have a federal judge in one part of the country saying, yes, everybody own fully automatic weapons. And then you have another one in the other part of the country that says, as a matter of fact, you can't own fully auto, nor can you own these either. These are definitely contradicting opinions, and that's why I do believe, because of the most recent United States versus Chan case, that this probably will end up at the Supreme Court. Obviously, I don't have insight in that, but based on what I've seen in just the last few years, I do believe this one's going. Primarily the Kansas case, because again, federal prosecuting attorneys are not cool with losing that case, that I know. So there you go. Any thoughts or insight on any of this? Definitely put it below. Do want to take a moment and say that most people watch this channel, they're not subscribers. Click that subscribe button. It greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get these messages out. That link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests, so please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.